Welcome back to This Week in Film, a nice tempered open to the show. It's the weekly podcast where we come together and talk about the movies we've seen over the past week. I'm Nick Pinotto, joined as always by Ray Radaminki and Matt Vitri.
Yeah.
Hi.
That's
Hello.
where you guys say hi.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Ray, Matt, what's going on? What's happened over the last week?
Nothing. It's been a crazy week, wild week.
Remember the Cubs won the World Series?
Yeah.
that
That wasn't this week.
It felt like 100 years ago. I said that earlier. Didn't even get a laugh there.
That's on the mountain.
I tried to
I
recycle
honestly-
that joke.
I
It
honestly-
did not work.
Like, I'm a sports fan. I like baseball, but I could care less about the Cubs winning the World Series.
Oh, really?
Oh, I was really into this.
Don't care.
I felt good for him, but at the same time, I wish that they had lost because
Yeah, it's a
the
better
Cubs
story.
the Cubs are losers.
Right.
You know, like
But this is
You know.
this is a podcast about movies, not sports.
this isn't the Sporting Lou's podcast. That's my friend
No.
Lou, who's been on the show. He
Friend of
wants
the show.
Friend of the show, Lou. He's going to start a sports codcast called the Sporting Lou's. He doesn't know it.
Oh.
Everything's a terrible pun, as we'll see later in this show. So who wants to go first this
boy.
week? I can go first.
Yeah. Why don't you go first?
All right. So this week I watched the 2015 classic
Already a classic.
San Andreas, starring The Rock and I'm unprepared.
Other people.
Yeah,
The
other
Rock.
people.
Alexandra Daddario. Alexander Daddario's heaving bosom. I looked her up instead of the San Andreas.
Was this a Criterion Collection version?
Yeah. I'll get into all that. Carla
Remastered, digitally remastered.
Gugino? Gugino?
Yeah. I like
It
her.
doesn't look
I'm a big
anything
fan
like-
of. I'm a big fan of her.
I was not in this movie. She looks
You know what she's in?
no.
She's the star of a little movie called
Mighty Max.
The Mighty Max.
Is she really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is she the nun?
She's
Yeah.
the main character, yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Which I also have never seen.
I have never seen it either. There's one scene of the movie that I've seen
Probably
many
30
times. Probably more than that. I was directed by Brad Payton. It also stars Colton Haynes and Paul Giamatti, who plays Paul Giamatti, and Ewan Gruffudd, who you'll know best as the first Mr. Fantastic from like the recent
gotcha,
series,
gotcha.
like the one from the early 2000s.
The Fox one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Where Captain America plays another or different Marvel
where
character.
Captain America is the Human Torch.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, San Andreas is the story of an earthquake. The end. Basically, Paul Giamatti is an earthquake scientist or seismologist, and him and his scientist buddy figure out a way to predict earthquakes. And just at the right time, they predict one is coming to Las Vegas, right near Hoover Dam. So they go there to test their theory. And while they're there, an earthquake happens. And the Hoover Dam explodes, which was kind of a cool scene because I was there just last year. So it was neat to see all the stuff that I had just seen. There's not that much water behind Hoover Dam as in the movie because of the drought. But anyway, Hoover Dam explodes. And then we meet The Rock. The Rock, all right. There's so much to talk
Rocky
about.
by a beat.
Wait, you mean Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who I will only refer to as The Rock.
Gotcha. All right. Just want to clear that up.
But let me go back. There's so much to talk about with this movie. There's so much going on. So Paul Giamatti and his buddy is in the tunnels of Hoover Dam. He's inside the dam when the earthquake hits, and he's like, "Oh, I got to get out." And Paul Giamatti starts screaming at people to get off of the dam. So everyone is running and getting out of their cars while the earthquake starts happening. Paul Giamatti's buddy, that's how he's cast. That's his character's name, Paul Giamatti's buddy. Comes out of an elevator, which you're not supposed to take in an earthquake.
Yeah.
Stay out of the elevators. Comes out of the elevator as the dam is falling apart, dances around potholes and like sinkholes, rescues a young girl, and then just as he's about to make it, the ground opened up underneath him and he falls a little bit, but he throws the girl into the arms of Paul Giamatti. the man, his foot has been impaled by a piece of rebar.
Rebar is always like popping up in
Always.
when there's like an earthquake or a natural disaster.
It's always getting in the way.
Yeah.
I'll also admit that until yesterday, I thought that rebar was pronounced rebarb.
Like rhubarb?
Kind of, yeah. Or like barb, but again. Rebarb.
Barb.
But I was informed that it's called rebar, and because it's reinforced bar. Anyway,
I'm glad we cleared that up.
I'm gonna keep calling it rebarb. And so this guy, his foot is impaled, and Paul Giamatti's gonna go get him. Like, you can survive with a mangled foot. And the guy goes, "No, stay back." And then there's a pause, and then he looks at the girl who he saved, who's looking back at him, and he says, "Close your eyes." And then the Hoover Dam explodes.
So he knew that it was going to come?
I guess. I don't know. So there's totally enough time for Paul Giamatti to try to save this guy. And anyway, Hoover Dam explodes. Las Vegas is basically washed away, I guess, is the underlying story. Then we go to is it Los Angeles or San Francisco? Because The Rock works for, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, as you said, works for California Fire Department or something like that. And he's a helicopter pilot. And
is he like a hotshot?
No, he's very determined and very good at his job. Oh, you know what? I missed the whole open of the movie, which tells us all about The Rock's character. So the movie starts out with a girl driving. And basically, she drives off the cliff, and The Rock's got to save her. So there's a news crew in the helicopter with The Rock and his helicopter crew. As they get to save the girl, they send one of the guys down to secure the vehicle. He gets stuck under the car. The car gets pushed off because of a rock slide, and the rock slide kind of keeps happening. And this rescue worker gets stuck under the rock, or under a car. So The Rock says, "I'm going down. Pull up a line for me." So they move the helicopter inside the canyon. The Rock jumps out of the helicopter.
Who's flying the helicopter?
Other guy.
Oh, right.
Guy 3. Guy 1's under the car. Guy 2's just hanging out, and Guy 3's flying it. And The Rock is now next to the car. He looks down, sees that his buddy's in trouble, rips the door off the car.
The Rock rips the door off?
The Rock tears the door from the car to save the girl.
I mean, he is a pretty big dude.
He's huge. He's a massive dude. That will come into play later in the movie. He's strong enough to tear the door off of a car that's closed. The door is closed, and he rips it off the body of the car.
They don't make them like they used to.
While suspended in air. Like, he's hanging there, and he just tears the door
got no
off.
leverage. He's just using it all his arm.
It's all arm. It's all just will. Anyway, The Rock and his wife are getting a divorce.
Is that Carla Cugino?
Yeah. Who, in her IMDb picture, she looks great. In this movie, she is not great looking. She looks like she's been through some things.
Like a divorce?
Yeah. And so they have a daughter. They have 2 daughters. One of them is Alexandra Daddario. Alexandra? And they had another daughter who has died. She drowned. And because she drowned, The Rock and his wife have marriage problems, and it's just not going to work out between them. The Rock can't communicate, and he blames himself for the death because he wasn't able to save his daughter from drowning. You can't tear the doors off a river, Ray. You can't tear the doors off the river.
Is that
it should have been?
Movie?
Should have been. So anyway, the Alexandra Daddario is going to college, and she looks like she's pushing 30.
I think she is 30.
But she's supposed to be like 18 or 19. Anyway, she's going to go to college. The wife is moving in with her new boyfriend, who's Mr. Fantastic. And they all have to get separated because The Rock has to go help the recovery efforts in Las Vegas. So, now that we've got everything set up, there's an earthquake. It's the biggest one ever, right? Everything's falling down. Everyone's trapped. The daughter is trapped inside the new boyfriend's high rise that he owns. The Rock is safe in a helicopter. The ex-wife is at lunch with Mr. Fantastic's sister. There's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, also, San Francisco is a city of 3 million people?
Yeah.
Right. So they're all there too. And so the earthquake hits. The Rock goes to save his wife because she calls him and says, I need help. And he says, in the middle of an earthquake, go to the roof of the building. I'll come get you and get everyone else to come up too. There's 300 people in this building. She's at a restaurant and there's 300 people on the floor of this restaurant. There's people on fire. Everyone's just trying to get out of the building. And she starts screaming, go to the roof, go to the roof. If everyone made it to the roof, the Rock would just leave them. And rather than them all trying to get out of the building, he told her to get everyone to the roof of this building.
Well, he was probably going to pick them up like group by group.
Could you imagine?
But the building is falling down.
Be in that situation,
everyone that she grabs, trying to take them to the roof, including the waitress that was nice to her, falls to her death. Everyone but the wife falls to their death in this scene. What were you saying, Matt?
Could you imagine being in that situation where there's an earthquake and a building is falling around you and someone starts screaming, go to the roof?
Yeah, go to the roof.
Go to the 30th floor. We're on the first floor. Go to the 30th floor.
So anyway, The Rock saves the wife, right? Then he gets a phone call from his daughter, and she's saying, I'm trapped under a building. She's trapped and her legs are pinned. And then they lose contact. So The Rock says, we got to go get her. We got to go get her. And the wife's like, okay, let's go get her. And he's in his helicopter. That ran out of gas in 20 minutes in the opening scene. They ran out of gas right away.
But now we're just full gas.
This time this helicopter is supposed to be going for repairs. And 2, all the gas in the world.
Well, 3, isn't he supposed to be saving doesn't he work for a place? Doesn't he work for the state?
Yeah,
Shouldn't he be saving other people?
He should be working to save everyone. Now, right now,
family comes first, guys.
Right now, I'm on board with going to save the daughter because she's trapped,
and she's hot,
and she's really hot, and she makes friends with this British dude who then saves her. They all work together, and she gets saved.
Leave it to the British dude,
right? He uses some British ingenuity and removes some kilograms from the car. And they escape the building before it falls down. Anyway, they go to some electronics store and call her dad up. And she's supposed to be a tech wizard because she knows how to use a touch tone phone. And she calls her dad, The Rock, who's still flying a helicopter, to her to say, hey, I'm fine. We got out. I'm okay. We're fine. And The Rock says, I'm still coming for you. I'm coming to get you, baby. Get to high ground. Once again, go up with The Rock, right? So at this point, The Rock is being negligent. There's 3 million people to save in this city, and he's telling his daughter, who is fine, to keep going. Anyway, the movie continues after that. There's a tidal wave that destroys all of San Francisco. And that's a pretty cool scene. The action in the movie is pretty cool, but you could tell everything is green screen and CGI, but it looks a lot better than 2012 did. Because that movie was terrible. This movie was also terrible, but at least it has The Rock. But
he's very charismatic.
Yeah.
He's a movie star.
He's great. But the one
sexiest man alive now, according to People Magazine.
Oh, I thought that was Ryan Reynolds.
This year's The Rock.
Hey. You can't lose. No, either one. We're winning.
The highest paid actor in Hollywood.
He deserves it, though.
Or highest grossing actor.
So the Alexandra Daddario, she starts off the movie wearing a full sweater and heavy pants. As the movie goes on, every 10 minutes, it's almost as if they're all right, take off another layer of clothes. So it gets to the point where she's just wearing a tank top and tight jeans, and she's just running around. Now, not to be crude, Ray, and Matt, but this charming young lady
Sophisticated.
has giant boobs. Like, I mean, they're just massive, and she's running around in such a way that she looks like she's in pain. The way, like, they're just flying all over the place.
Sports bra? Maybe?
Nothing, because it's just a tank top with like the string. Like, there's nothing. And it just seemed like in every scene that went by, they're like, more bounce. We need more bounce. And it gets to a point where they put her, after the tidal wave comes in, to like the 10th floor of a building. She's drowning inside the building. And she's like swimming underwater towards the camera so that you can deliberately, just so you can look down her shirt. Wonderful scene. And anyway, so the Rock finds her in the building. She's on the 10th floor and drowning. And the Rock's watching her drown. He can't get to her. He's going to watch another one of his daughters drown. No.
No.
The Rock says no. And as she starts, remember in Casino Royale when when James Bond's girlfriend, spoiler alert for Casino Royale, when James Bond's girlfriend starts to like inhale the water to kill herself, she starts doing that, but she's not as good an actress as the chick from
who was that?
And Ava Green.
Yes.
She's not as good an actress, so she just like opens her mouth and then just starts convulsing. The Rock, using willpower, because once again, can't use his legs, he's underwater, is now able to tear the door and all the debris away so that he can get to his daughter. And then at this point, the wife crashes a boat through the side of the building, not knowing where anyone is. They all live happily ever after. That was 20 minutes.
I feel like I just watched the whole movie. I mean, and just a little preface here. I've never seen San Andreas.
I would recommend watching it, but if you don't have to pay attention, that'd be great. I watched this movie. It took me 3 days to watch it.
I watched this movie when it first hit like video on demand, and I had the same experience. I just kept going, what? Huh? What?
Every vehicle the Rock controls in the movie crashes. But he also, at the end of the movie, he looks totally fine. Like, he's not in any way, he doesn't look tired. He doesn't look beat up. He doesn't look like he's really exhausted, any energy. But like, he spends the whole movie holding a steering wheel. I'd say 90% of the movie is him holding a steering wheel, or at one point he's driving a car. At another point, he's flying a plane, and he's flying a helicopter, and then he's driving a boat. And
then he's swimming.
It's 2 hours of The Rock driving. Like he at one point he punches a dude, and then that was great. Like, I thought that was great, and then nothing. So that was San Andreas.
I can't wait to see it. I'm probably never gonna watch it, but
it'll be on. TBS.
I basically just watched it right there.
It'll be on TBS soon, and then I'll end up watching it every time. But a lot of cool special effects, but overall pretty hollow.
Great.
Fantastic. All right.
Awesome.
So Matt,
yes,
what did you see this week?
I saw the I guess it's just Arrival, not The Arrival. That's something else.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with another one.
I saw The Arrival too.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about
Charlie
Arrival.
Sheen.
Oh. Yeah.
And I forget who else was in that movie.
Ray Liotta.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, he's in. Charlie Sheen is in.
Yeah, The Arrival.
This is where he wears the glasses and has
guys,
the goatee, right?
He's in The Arrival.
They
the
bend
movie
their
Arrival.
kneecaps backwards and they start running.
Yeah.
That was an all right movie.
That's one of those movies that's like the first 30, 40 minutes is good, and then it just like stupid.
The Arrival 2, not
Right.
very good.
I think I saw
But no, I also
Yeah.
saw Arrival.
Yeah.
One word.
Yeah. Just Arrival.
Do you want to talk about the synopsis? Do you want me to?
Go ahead.
All right.
Take it
I'm
away.
going to try not to spoil it because Nick hasn't seen it yet, and it's one of those movies that you don't really want to spoil. So I'll give the very basic premise that everybody already knows.
Maybe I'll interject sometimes.
So The Arrival takes place, you assume, in present day.
Yeah.
Or maybe very near future.
Yeah. But I mean, everything's, all the cars and everything are
Right.
modern.
So Amy Adams, So first of all, the movie's directed by Dennis Villeneuve. Villeneuve, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I believe so. He's fantastic.
Yeah, so he's a fantastic director. He directed The Prisoners. He directed Sicario.
Did
movies that
Enemy.
I just haven't gotten around
Yeah,
to yet.
Enemy. Yeah, everything he's done in the past.
Oh, he did Enemy too.
Yeah, everything he's done in the past 5 years has just been great.
He directed like 2 foreign films that were one was nominated for an Oscar. Yeah, and then the other one's Maelstrom.
Yeah.
And
so
he did a short film that's like one of my favorites. That's on YouTube. Everyone should check it out. It's called Next Floor.
Okay,
Check it out.
I've never seen that either.
It's pretty cool.
So he's French Canadian.
What's up with these dudes that are just walking?
I don't know.
And
Like the fifth
this
time
movie is
goodbye.
this movie's based on a short story called.
People are stalking our studio.
This movie's based on a short story called "Story of Your Life" by a guy named Ted Chiang. And the basic premise of the film is Amy Adams plays a linguist, and she's I don't know if she's world renowned but she's well known amongst, at least in the United States, as an award winning linguist. She's written books,
And she's helped the military.
she's helped the military before in regards to, I guess,
Terrorism?
translating
Yeah.
terrorists.
And stopping like a Farsi terrorist
Yeah.
attack.
So she's cunning too.
Right. I guess kind of. Whatever.
She's a cunning linguist.
Right. Hilarious. I just got that. So she's a teacher at a college, in addition to being a well-renowned author and everything. Professor. And And suddenly one day, while she's in class, she walks into her classroom and nobody's in the class. And there's like a few people. And she's like, where is everybody? And the people that are in the class are like, oh, we don't know where everybody is. And then everybody's phone starts to ring. And this is I thought it was a very good way they portrayed like an alien invasion, how it would happen now. Like, or any natural disaster, people's phones go off and you get like text alerts and people are texting you. And that's how it happens. Like everybody's phone like slowly starts to go off in the classroom. And the one girl goes, can we turn the TV on? And she's like, why? And she's like, we need to turn the TV on. They turn the TV on. And all these like pods have shown up randomly around Earth, hovering in the air above, like in like no certain places. Like there's one in Montana, there's one in China, there's one in Africa. They're everywhere. I think 12 total, Matt, right?
Yes, 12.
12 total pods. So Amy Adams kind of looks at it. Everybody kind of leaves the classroom, and she kind of really is kind of numb to it. She doesn't really know what to think of it. She's talking to her mom on the phone about it, and her mom seems to be very concerned. She's like, I'm watching the same thing you are, Mom. Like, I don't know what to tell you, whatever. So she goes home, goes to sleep with the news on. Then the next day, actually in the middle of the night, the military arrives. And they're like, are you so-and-so? Did you write this book? Did you help the military previously before? She's like, yes. They're like, all right, we need you to translate something for us. So what they do is they show her, or they play a recording for her, and it's just like, it's something that's extraterrestrial, like just like sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment, it's a great scene, because the moment they play that for her, you could tell that she is not ready for something like this. They're like, do you understand what that is? And she's like, yeah, I understand what it is. And like, do you know what they're saying? And she's like, no, it's aliens. Like,
She's like, I don't speak this language.
Right, she's like, I don't speak this language.
You have to watch like.
She's like so nervous. She's like, I don't even know I don't know what to say. So they want her to come.
So she's never worked with the military before.
No, she has worked with the military.
No,
before.
she has.
But just like the director really brings the scope of like how like we see this in movies all the time, but this like it's very realistic. Like if this actually happened, like how first of all how nuts the world would go, not just in the United States but all over the country, and how differently each country what
you sort of not in the United States but all over the country,
all over the world. Sorry, and how differently every country would react. Actually, somebody in the movie makes a point at one point saying that like this is a nation of like thousands of leaders. We don't have a central leader, or not a nation, a world,
yeah.
a planet without one central leader. We have thousands of leaders, and everybody leads differently. So like you have the scope of like the world dealing with it, and then you have the scope of like a one person dealing with it, and just how crazy it would be if aliens did show up.
Mm-hmm.
So she reluctantly comes on board and decides to, help the military out. The military obviously is thinking,
well,
violence, right? Like they're.
I feel like the U.S. military is along the lines of like they just want the main question to be answered.
Right.
What is your purpose here?
Right. They want to know what they want. What do you want? Why are you here?
China and Russia and
Sudan.
Yeah, Sudan. They're like right off the bat like pointing rockets at it to blow them out of the sky.
Right.
So I mean,
everybody acts differently.
The United States like really kind of, and I mean all of these countries you are kind of led to believe throughout the course of the story that they're all sort of having the exact same experience as Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. But
Jeremy Renner is like a scientist who's also brought on to help Amy Adams.
But you don't get to see any of them, and it.
Right,
I kind of
from the American.
I kind of think it makes sense because you're watching, like like those countries aren't sharing their information, and the United States aren't sharing their information with everybody else. Like they are, but like to a degree, they're all trying to understand why there are 12 pods here. We're all being
right, and they all deal with it in a different way.
Yeah.
And so the base, so without giving any more away, that's the basic premise of the movie because you really need to see it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a gigantic. I mean, if we talk any more about it, we're going to spoil.
Right, exactly. So that's all I want.
And it's really cool.
That's all I want to give away. But the basic idea of the movie is about language, and like we said, the military, the United States military, just wants to know where they want her to translate what they're saying. And they want to know what they want. And she's like, she kind of like stops them. And she's like, hold on a second. Like, we need to figure out, like, even if I do decipher what they're saying might not mean the same thing to us as it does to them. She tells that cool little story where she says,
like she makes up a story about a kangaroo.
Yeah, she makes up a story. She goes, she says settlers settled Australia. The British settlers settled Australia. And they come across the natives and the Aborigines, and the one British soldier asks the Aborigines, points to a kangaroo and goes, "What's that?" And the Aborigine goes, "Kangaroo." And that's why we call a kangaroo a kangaroo. And she goes, "Kangaroo means I don't know in Aborigine.
No, I don't understand you.
I don't understand you in Aborigine."
Oh.
So
but she makes a story up, so you don't really know if that's true or not.
No, well, that's apparently not a true story, but that's the example that she makes to be like, if these people are saying hello might mean fuck you. You know what I mean? Like you have to start at the ground up.
To them, to mean war.
Right, to understand stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the whole basis of the movie is her trying to understand what are they here for good? Are they here for bad?
And like there's a really cool like throwaway line in the very beginning, the very first 15, 20 minutes of the movie. The first time that Jeremy Renner meets Amy Adams, he's reading her like a
passage from a book that she wrote.
And he's saying like something like language is the cornerstone of all civilization, and he's like, no, that's actually wrong. It's science. So you're actually watching like a scientific operation happen throughout the course, like throughout the entire story, which is awesome, and it just makes you like think. Like these people are trying to understand while they're here. It plays a lot of what's going on in the modern world right now, where people don't communicate.
Yeah, it's all about communication, language, and how if somebody did come from a different planet, like there's no telling like how they would write, how they would talk, like how they would do anything. And you'd have to start at the very, very, very basics, where. Like I said, some countries would just be like, "Well, we don't understand what they're saying. Let's blow them up." It's like, "Wait, hold on a second here." Like,
yeah,
maybe
they've entered our airspace. It's like,
right.
Well, it's not. It's Earth airspace at this point.
Right.
Yeah, but go ahead.
There's a I don't know who said it. It might have been Neil deGrasse Tyson, but they were talking about, and this isn't related to your movie, but it's the same line of thought where someone said something along the lines of, it'd be great if we could get a translation machine for like a dog or a lion, and then we could know what a lion or a dog is saying.
Right.
And I'm going to say it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, but it may not have been him. But he says, well, that's all well and good. You can know what a lion is saying if you're translating it into English or for whatever language you want. But an animal's, compared to us, their frame of reference for everything is different.
Right.
Like our frame of reference for all our language is basically every past experience of all of humanity.
Right.
Whereas if a lion, like we think that the way a lion thinks or a dog is the way that we think, where if only we could just hear the sentences you're trying to say, where it's not like that for them. They have completely different frames of reference. So like when a dog barks, it's not really saying a word. It's just trying to be loud.
Right.
Kind of a thing. So like, how do you translate
that
volume?
Right.
And we translate it as
anger,
as people, as, oh, this is a threat.
Right.
Watch out. This thing can be dangerous to me. I better get away from it, which is what the dog wants.
Right.
So like, how do you translate that into words, kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Which is what this sounds like.
No, this is exactly what this movie gets into, like a lot deeper stuff than what we're talking about here. Especially with when you learn a new language, how that affects you, how that affects the people around you, how that affects your life and stuff like that. I highly recommend this movie. I think it's one of the best movies of the year. It's very well directed. It's very well done. It's very well acted.
It's a thinker. There's not a lot of action.
Yeah, there's not a lot of action.
And that's fine.
But
it's really
yeah,
fun. It's fantastic.
It's a movie that will have you thinking well beyond it about, the way we are, the way other races could be.
It just makes you think, like, if you ever traveled like outside of the United States, you go there with a
or for our international listeners,
yes,
outside of
or international travel or global travelers, it just makes you think, like, oh, you think of like the world before you travel outside the United States as one thing, like but you don't realize you're seeing like the world in a very generalized, specific way that's been delivered to you.
Right.
And you go to see how other people live, and you're like, oh my God, like this is like your eyes are kind of open, and then you start like taking that and trying to like put it into your everyday life, like, oh, like what would it, like what these people be doing, or it just makes you think differently. And this movie kind of really gets into that, where they're learning the language of extraterrestrials, and they're interpreting their entire like existence like differently.
Yeah, it's definitely a very deep movie.
Yes,
and it makes you question a lot of different things.
And then there's a lot of like they don't really get into this, like, you watch like a lot of movies where aliens land or the world's ending or something like that, which is not what this is going on in this movie, but you see how the world's reacting. Like the funniest thing in the movie was how there was like on TV there was a cult that hadn't killed themselves.
Yeah,
because like they had prophesized aliens would land.
That stuff I think would happen.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Totally happened.
People as soon as they saw that would be like,
just sitting around waiting for that. Yeah.
So, well, it's over.
Yeah,
that was the movie District 9.
Yeah.
I always thought that until it got real sci-fi, or until really the movies like really started to go. But the way that they handle the alien arrival in that movie was spot on for the way it would be. For the first week and a half, it'd be like, wow, this is insane. And then all of a sudden it would turn into just, well, I still got to go to work.
Right.
Like after 2 weeks of like that ship just being in the sky, things would just kind of go back to normal. And then like in District 9, they open up the ship and there's like refugee aliens in there or whatever.
And then the movie turns into literally The Fly.
Yeah. But they bring those people down to Earth, and then they start having the same, like it's supposed to be an analogy for refugee camps and things like that. But all that stuff would happen. You'd still have the same political, well, why are we taking care of them? Well, why aren't they paying for it?
Yeah, exactly.
All that finger pointing and blaming and stuff. Like I thought that was brilliant the way it was. Like if an alien just showed like a not benevolent and not malicious, but just like a thing just appeared in the sky, for the first week it'd be the biggest news story ever.
Right.
But then, well, we still got to eat.
Right.
It would be the biggest news story ever, but like I see what you're saying, and then like a week later, the reactions of the world leaders and the people who inhabit Earth would be like the biggest story. Like
if they brought war, it'd be a different thing. But if they're just like, hey, this bird just flew in, okay.
Well, like how the world handles this becomes like an even bigger story than them actually being here over time. Yeah, I got it.
But yeah, like I said, I don't really want to talk many more about it, because if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's if you like sci-fi.
Yeah, I appreciate you not playing spoilers, not spoilers this week
without you.
But that's all we'll get for now. I just highly recommend it. Go see it.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. There's not a lot of action in this movie, but you're not craving that.
No, I thought it went by quick.
Yeah.
Well, just from what you guys were saying, I was hooked. I was like, all right, well, keep going. Yeah. Keep telling me about it. So I would love to see it. I don't know when I will get a chance. I went to the movies last week, so that's it for the next 6 months.
Should I talk about?
Nah, we're done.
All right.
You're good.
You did great.
Got another movie, but that's fine.
Do we have a special segment that
we're
going to do?
Well, so Matt, last week we had our Ray's Random Rayquest and Matt's meticulous examination.
Yes.
Right.
No responses this week.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, I'm sorry. The amount of responses we had was so overwhelming that
we couldn't sift through them.
I couldn't decide who we should listen to or not. So we're just not going to read any of them.
But just be a lesson to all of you out there.
Last week you said you had a list of presidents.
Oh.
Ray's question last week was a list of questions. So I have here. Put your phone away.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if you were going to be here today, Matt. So I came up with
I'm always here.
I came up with a new game we're going to play called ConcentRAYion, because and then your name is Ray, and then Sean, and then Matt. You're also here. ConcentRAYion and Matt. So what we're going to do is, based on your question last week, Ray, I'm going to let you guys choose. You can either, and this is from Wikipedia, you can tell me real life actors who played real presidents, or real life actors, or actors who played fake presidents. What would you like to do?
You choose, Matt.
How about real life actors who've played fake presidents?
Fake presidents. All right.
It's going to be harder.
Now, we're inventing this game up as we go.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking you guys will go back and forth until there's a winner.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go
So
first.
you just name the actor. Do you have to name
you got to name the actor and then the movie that it was in.
Okay.
You don't have to name the president or whatever. So, all right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Matt.
Harrison Ford, Air Force One.
Okay.
Bill Pullman, Independence Day.
The best one of all time. I've decided that was the best.
Jeff Bridges, The Contender.
Ooh, good one. Morgan Freeman, Deep Impact.
Another excellent portrayal.
This might be over before we even know it. Let me think here. Do I have to know the actor's name, or can I just name the movie? And
no, you gotta know the actor's
president.
name.
Oh, we're making this is like.
I'll tell you what.
I wasn't
You
prepared
name
for
a
this.
movie, maybe I can come up with who the actor was for the president, because this list is so long that
Yeah, there's so many of them.
I don't even know why I have it out.
The
Maybe
female president
I
in
will
Independence
also-
Day Part 2.
Jack Nicholson in Mars
Oh,
Attacks.
that's a good one.
I am now going to play.
Okay, good.
Oh, you just looked at a list.
I didn't really look
He
at anything.
didn't offer anything up, so he's going to...
Oh, great.
All right. I saw this from the list. Stephen Colbert in Monsters vs. Aliens.
Oh,
Oh.
He
nice.
plays a president.
Okay.
You got one, Matt?
The Doctor from Halloween, but in Escape from New York.
Donald Pleasance.
Yes, Escape from New York.
Okay.
Okay.
Aaron Eckhart in is it White House Down
Yeah.
or Olympus Has Fallen? I get those movies confused.
Which
is the one with
Olympus
Jamie
Has Fallen. Jamie Foxx is White House Down. I'll take that point.
Okay, so
Thanks.
Olympus Has Fallen is so I lose.
Nah, you're still alive.
Okay.
Jamie Foxx and
I just said that.
did you?
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx in London Has Fallen.
No, it's not right.
No? Okay.
No, White House Down.
Let me think. Oh, Terry Crews in Idiocracy.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Very good one.
Yeah, really
President Camacho.
Are
Are you still alive, Matt? Or are you out? I just whacked my head. Or are you out?
I mean, I'm gonna go out right now.
Martin Sheen. Or no, wait, is it Martin Sheen? No, Michael Douglas in The American President.
Oh.
I have one.
Good one. What do you got?
I have Kevin Kline in Dave.
That's good. Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln.
That's a real
That's
life
a real
president.
life
It's
president.
not a fictional
Yeah.
president. That was the other part of the game. That was the other part of the game.
Oh.
Scram.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm out then. That was based on real events.
I'm pretty sure Abraham Lincoln was a real person and a real president.
Allegedly.
Yeah. You're up.
Oh.
I'm up?
Yeah, you're up.
No, you just went.
I just went.
Oh.
I think.
I'm all out here. Let me see.
You guys are terrible at your fictional American history.
I would have studied harder. I didn't know we were playing this game.
I really want to say President David Palmer from 24, but that's a TV.
Yeah.
TV show, yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson in what's that movie called? The Big Game.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
It's newer. My friend Nate would know what I was talking about.
Oh, you have friends?
Yeah, I do have friends, and he's
What-
probably
what's
cursing
that
at
like?
the podcast.
All
It's
right.
like the Great Game or the Big Game or something like that.
I got a different game now.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
It's basically the same one. How long is this thing at this point? Maybe we'll just delete the other game.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
great.
We'll play both of them. All right. This game, we're going to start with George Washington. You got to think of an actor who played George Washington.
Okay.
And then we're going to go through the presidents. We'll look it up to see who's next.
All right.
So
In movies?
Yeah. Who played George Washington in a movie?
Can you at least name the movie so we can name the actor? I literally have no idea who played George Washington in the movie.
Oh, I know who played him in a movie. He was in shit.
What's the movie called? Maybe I can help you out.
No, actually, I'm not thinking the right thing. It's a different movie. It's a TV show. I'm thinking of John Adams, a TV show.
That's the first thing that popped in my mind. Was, oh.
Yeah. This game is terrible.
Yeah.
Difficult game.
Jeff Bridges played George Washington or Jeff Daniels played George Washington in The Crossing. That sounds terrible. Just hearing Jeff Daniels as George Washington just...
Like, Jeff Daniels is okay when he's being Jeff Daniels,
I'm
but
George
Jeff Daniels
Washington.
playing someone else would be just awful.
Burgess Meredith was James Madison. All right.
Penguin?
So, that brings us to the plug segment. Ray, do you have a Ray's random request for this week?
Sure. If people are going to answer the question, I'm not going to ask it if nobody's going to answer it.
I can't say that they will or they won't. Maybe they just really wanted to hear the new game, Concentration. Or do you have a category for concentration
Yeah, we could do a
you
category.
want to play for next week?
Yeah, we'll play for next week.
And I'll try to come up with like a decent game.
Category for concentration. Or concentration.
Concentration.
And
And Matt.
It's hard to think of off the top of my head here.
And do you have a question, Matt?
I have a question.
What's your question for this coming week?
My question this week is, who is your favorite character? No, forget that. What is your favorite
This has
movie?
been a great episode.
What is your favorite movie about the making of a movie?
Oh, that's a good
That's
one.
a good one.
Yeah.
See, brought it back. Savior.
I'm thinking of
Boom.
what's that Willem Dafoe one about the vampire?
No, it's about Nosferatu, but what's that called?
Yeah,
I own the movie.
that was good. He was great in that.
Yeah.
He played himself.
Yes. He played creepy Willem Dafoe.
I can't think of anything for the next week.
We'll come up with
We'll
come up with a
We'll do it
super
next
fun game. And for Ray's random Ray quest, how about what did you think of ConcentRAYion?
I like it. I think it's a good.
I think there's something in there.
Yeah, there's something in there. It was
Scratching
just
the surface.
today you sprung it on us, and it was hard to do. But I guess that's the point.
Well, maybe we'll come up with something during the week, and
Yeah.
we'll work on it.
Whoa, my God.
All right. Check us out on the Podcast Radio Network. If you're listening right now, it must be after 10:30, and Let's Talk Flicks ended not too long ago. You can check us out at thisweekinfilmpodcast.com and find a link to all of our things. If there's a podcast app that we're not on and you use it, let us know because we'll get on there. Ray, anything?
No, I got nothing to plug.
Matt?
Just at Matt Vitri on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Nice.
A lot of plugs back here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
All of a sudden he's got plugs.
Yeah.
All
Gotta
right.
get those followers up.
Yeah.
Well-
and mattvitri.com if you
Oh,
so inclined.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll put a link to that on thisweekinfilmpodcast.com. And Charlie's book, Boy Zero, should be available in regular stores now.
Comic book stores?
Yeah, comic book stores and brick and mortar stores. So go try and check it out. If they don't have it, demand it. Otherwise, if that's the end of the reel, we'll see you next week in film.
See ya.
Bye.